Hello, thank you for joining us again. Today we're going to look at a huge subject which we will just touch on, and that's that of fear. I think it's something we all experience. It comes up a lot with horse people, with horses, and of course it has a big influence on the horse. It's not always that it's a bad thing for the horse. I think if we are authentic and honest and owning our fear, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Of course, if we're working with a dominant horse, with a stallion, with a horse that's a bit pushy, it's no good if we're in fear. I had a lovely experience with a pony we got some years ago, and he'd been very badly treated and he was terrified of people. So to get near him, you had to go down on your knees and crawl. So he was a really little pony, like Shetland-sized pony. So that was the only way you could approach him. And the first time he actually got the confidence to approach a person was when a friend of mine came over to help me with one of the young horses, and he brought his wife with him, and she was terrified of horses. She was sitting in the yard and the pony was loose because we were trying to get him used to people, so he was just wandering around loose. And she was sat on the bench and he was kind of looking at her, and she said, "Oh, don't let him come near me, don't let him come near me, oh." And I said, "Oh, Fally, please, 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 don't move, because he's never looked like he was going to approach a person." And he did. Little by little he went right up to her. It was so interesting. Like, I think he felt she's more afraid than I am. But horses, of course, they pick up on that very quickly. When we're riding or with a horse, I was working with somebody the other day, and with a very sensitive, highly strung Arab mare, and I'd asked her to let go of the reins, and just the thought of that, she thought about being afraid, and the horse immediately reacted. Whoa, just even thinking about the fear. If we're going to be their safe place and we're in fear, of course we're not giving them a safe place to be. So yeah, fear of falling, fear of failing, fear of not being good enough. It's endless, the things we can come up with. And I think to take a look, we talked about it a bit in the curiosity video, to get curious, to look at our fear, to understand that courage is just the full awareness of fear and the decision to go ahead with it anyway. So I think it's just to create the habit is very helpful. I try to do, because of course fear is there to protect us. It's necessary. If we had no fear, we might fall off a high building, or I don't know. There's loads of, it is there to protect us. So I think it's just to take a real honest look at the situation when you feel afraid with whatever it is. We're looking at the horse thing here, so if there's a situation that really brings up fear for you, it's to take a look and say, is this a reasonable fear? Is it helpful? Is that warning me that this situation's too much for me? Should I step out and come back to it when I'm more prepared? Or is it a fear that actually it's time I stepped up and stepped past it? So breathing, of course, is very useful when you're on the horse or off the horse, to really feel your feet. Wiggle your toes in your boots, feel the grounding point, take some long breaths. The breath can really change the emotion. Sometimes when you're riding out and with the young horse and things, I get people to just say boring, boring when they're afraid, and it changes it. Singing's another useful thing. So there's lots of tools and things we can come up with. I'm sure you maybe have some own ways of dealing with fear of your own, and it's something we'll probably come back to again and again, because it does come up a lot. I've had a lot of students over the years coming with just with fear, sometimes such a huge fear that they really think, should I keep on riding or even bother with it, because it brings up so much fear. And just to challenge ourselves and grow as human beings. Of course, doing stuff with horses when it brings up fear, even people that are coming up with horses for the first time, it's a great way to develop ourselves. And I think it's something we can all relate to. I also have my moments. I had a really wow experience with Umo, and he's not been ridden, and the whole idea of will I ride him, will I not, what on earth's going to happen, brings up quite a lot of emotions like that of fear with me. So let's see where see where that goes. That's a whole other story. But yes, it's definitely a huge subject and something to really take note of and work on in ourselves, in our horsemanship, in our lives, and something I think we can all support and help each other with also. So thank you for being with us today.